Stoicism is a philosophy accessible to all, transcending social class, financial status, skin color, sexual orientation, or intelligence level. Proof of this lies in figures like Epictetus, a profound Stoic philosopher who endured over 30 years as a slave before claiming his freedom. Then there's Marcus Aurelius, an emperor born into opulence and power. Both embraced philosophy, incorporating Stoicism into their lives, aspiring towards virtue and self-mastery. They waged war against vices, freeing themselves from the clutches of lust, greed, lack of control, and anxiety. They honed their minds to confront fears and concerns within their realm of control. They mastered the art of acceptance, staying indifferent to things beyond their control, be it tomorrow's weather or the actions of those close to them, be it family or household. You can't dictate the society around you or alter others' judgments and opinions. There's only one domain under your command, you, your desires, intentions, actions, and your reaction to life's events. In our shared humanity, we all possess the capacity to control our emotions and reactions. Stoicism serves as a guide, urging us to do what must be done regardless of circumstances. It demands that we shoulder full moral responsibility for our actions. Discipline becomes the tool to train our feelings, guiding us to act in ways that shun shame, self-dishonor, and self-indulgence, feelings rooted in vices. The life of Marcus Aurelius serves as a testament, illustrating how Stoicism can navigate us through the battleground of vices, leading us towards the path of virtue. Let's plunge into its context and wisdom to confront these vices. Before we dive into the lessons this video holds, take a moment to share in the comments. What is your vice? And what's the date you're immersing yourself in this transformative message? I am greater. This simple declaration is a powerful stride towards breaking free from any vice that may shackle your life. Embed it in your Google Calendar, set a reminder on your phone to revisit this video, and track the strides you make. Commit sincerely to this transformation. As one who does not transmit light, creates their own darkness. Marcus Aurelius. He reigned as emperor from 161 AD to 180 AD, holding absolute rule over the world. Throughout those 19 years, he could have given in to all his vices, indulging in every whim and fancy, an all too common practice for emperors who came before him. Imagine having the power to amass all the wealth in the world for personal gain. Imagine the freedom to engage in relations with anyone, anytime, anywhere. Think about luxuriating in the finest clothes and foods the world had to offer. He wielded authority over all, and his word was the law. Marcus Aurelius had the might to seek revenge, punish, or even execute without consequence. He could have chosen to be intoxicated daily with the finest beverages, free from any restrictions. Yet despite the absolute power at his fingertips, Marcus Aurelius serves as an example of resisting temptations and navigating life's challenges without succumbing to vices. He resisted the lure of immediate gratification, be it the fleeting pleasures of vices or the impulses that drive us towards them. The lesson from Marcus Aurelius is clear. The ability to resist can be cultivated into a positive habit in our lives. For the Stoics, any virtue accessible to one human is accessible to all. In other words, if Marcus Aurelius could resist the temptations of power, then we, with considerably less power in our lives, can do the same. We all possess a rational nature enabling us to control feelings, manage behavior, actions, and relationships. Marcus Aurelius disciplined himself for 19 years, chronicling his journey in his journal, later published as Meditations. It is from this intimate journal that we glean insights into vices and how they entangle us. Innocuous habits. Imagine trying to ignore a pink elephant in your living room. It's quite the impossible feat. Depending on your home's size, you might not even be able to step into the room with it there. Now, picture a lone mosquito quietly perched on your bedroom wall. It might slip under your radar, silently biding its time. That is, until you wake up the next day, covered in bites and itching desperately. Innocuous habits often follow a similar pattern. We coexist with them, almost without realization, as they cleverly avoid clear identification. When we finally notice them, we tend to downplay their significance, convincing ourselves that they're just harmless distractions. Yet, like that silent mosquito that attacks during the night, these seemingly innocent habits can turn harmful when we least expect it. It's a potent lesson on why we must be vigilant about the habits that linger in our lives, even if they appear entirely harmless, such as retail therapy as a stress reliever, watching adult content to set the mood, venting about a colleague, criticizing your spouse or a family member, procrastinating on a challenging task, opting for fast food instead of preparing a healthy meal, downing coffee every half an hour, spending hours on social media, inevitably comparing your life to the seemingly perfect ones posted. These actions might seem like simple, everyday occurrences, far from the stereotypical image of addiction in our minds or seen on TV. However, these habits have the power to silently shackle you long before you recognize them as vices. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, "Thieves, perverts, murderers, and tyrants, they gather for their inspection their supposed pleasures." Marcus Aurelius cautions us about a treacherous path that many humans tread when they give prominence to vices in their lives. These words serve as a poignant warning because vices can truly steal away both virtue and happiness. When we allow fleeting and harmful pleasures to take the lead in our lives, indulging in excesses or embracing self-destructive behaviors, we unknowingly set ourselves on a course toward moral ruin. But let's not fall into this trap. Let's begin by making choices that pave the way for success and lasting happiness. The relentless pursuit of momentary pleasures often leads us astray. If your source of relief and happiness is solely derived from shopping, splurging on unnecessary items, you're essentially tethering your joy to the act of buying. Should you turn to pornography as the exclusive fuel for sexual satisfaction and a sense of being loved, building a genuine emotional connection in the real world becomes a challenging endeavor. If you find yourself reaching for multiple cups of coffee throughout the day just to concentrate, you're leaning on caffeine to prop up your productivity, despite your intrinsic ability to focus and produce. Succumbing to an incessant cycle of criticism and complaints develops into a vice. In any given situation, your brain automatically seeks reasons to complain or criticize, feeding into this destructive pattern. According to Marcus Aurelius, whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following: what fault of mine most resembles the one I am about to criticize? Criticism and complaining are silent vices, frequently practiced and inherently destructive. When you consistently shy away from challenging tasks, such as studying for an exam or completing a project, in favor of easier yet less productive activities, you inadvertently weaken your ability to face life's adversities and demands. The more dependent you become on fast food, the harder it is to break free from these habits and embrace a healthier lifestyle. If you spend a considerable amount of time on social media, particularly comparing your life to others and feeling inadequate, this can significantly impact your self-esteem and mental well-being. The quest for validation on social media can become addictive and harmful to your mental health. The danger of vices lies in their ability to seduce us with promises of fleeting satisfaction, leaving us feeling incredibly good for a short period. But ultimately, they leave behind a trail of devastation, eroding our capacity to lead a virtuous and meaningful life. Pleasure can turn into punishment, and self-discipline emerges as a powerful tool to combat this trap. It acts as a steadfast ally in our battle against vices, helping us maintain balance and achieve a healthier, more virtuous way of life. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, dig within. Within is the wellspring of good, and it can always bubble up if you just dig. Embarking on the journey of self-discipline is undoubtedly a challenge, yet it's vital to recognize that self-control is intricately tied to our ability to resist temptation. By linking the allure of vices to their negative consequences, we diminish some of their seductive power. This entails acknowledging that succumbing to vices often results in far worse outcomes than standing resilient against them. Now think about a vice you grapple with and consider the repercussions of consistently giving into it. Take out your phone's notepad or a piece of paper and split it into two columns, one for secondary benefits and the other for detrimental results. Secondary benefits represent the small rewards vices offer us. For instance, procrastinating a task might grant you some free time, garner attention from others, even if it's just a reminder of your delay, or help you evade significant responsibilities. Conversely, negative results encompass falling short of your goals, perpetually leaving tasks unfinished, and eroding your self-confidence. Upon completing both columns, you'll realize that even seemingly innocuous vices, with their fleeting rewards, pale in comparison to the sense of accomplishment achievable by eliminating them. In this perspective, the act of self-control becomes a fount of satisfaction and fulfillment, while temptation morphs into a burden of regret and remorse. Stoicism imparts the wisdom of rationality, empowering us to wield reason in an ongoing battle against vices. It encourages us to resist, prompting thoughtful consideration before impulsive reactions and compulsive behaviors take hold. Stoics term this ability the dominant faculty, enabling us to discern between thoughts, feelings, and impulses, distinguishing the good from the bad, the healthy from the unhealthy. Acting on this evaluation propels us to the realm of rational beings, capable of making conscious and wise choices, breaking free from the chains of vices and automatic responses. Navigating the complexities of vice isn't easy, but always remember, your power to think stands stronger than any trigger. Recall that nothing can happen without your consent. As Marcus Aurelius wisely expressed, "Today I escaped from difficult circumstances, or rather I discarded them, for they were not outside me but within my own assumptions." No event or circumstance inherently holds the power to govern our lives without our permission. Every situation we face in life is external and lacks access to our minds. This quote from Marcus Aurelius serves as a powerful reminder that we are the ultimate masters of our choices and reactions. The practice of Stoicism guides us to discern what is within our control and what lies beyond it. Firstly, we must distinguish what is within our grasp and what is not. Secondly, we take responsibility for what we can control. Within your control are your desires, intentions, actions, and how you choose to react to life's twists and turns. The actions of others, however, fall outside your dominion. Following Marcus Aurelius's wisdom, the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Yet you possess the freedom and control to reject any environment or situation that steers you towards vice. For instance, if you decide to quit smoking and break the nicotine addiction, you cannot demand that others cease smoking. That lies beyond your control. Yet you can choose to avoid environments where everyone indulges in smoking to resist temptation, a decision well within your control. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. There comes a pivotal moment when it becomes necessary to disengage from environments, situations, and even friendships that persistently drag you down. Either you let go, or you remain tethered to these situations, forever bound to your vices. Hold to what is in front of you: idea, action, expression. Marcus Aurelius. By internalizing this philosophy, we can effectively reject the sway of external assumptions, resist the allure of vices, and seize control of our own lives. While comprehending the dichotomy of control may be straightforward, its day-to-day practice proves challenging and complex. So, if you find yourself succumbing to temptation, making a small error, or even a significant blunder, remember that it doesn't alter or compromise the foundational philosophy you understand. This doesn't signify a permanent loss of your ability to make rational choices. Instead, it's a temporary lapse into old vices. Always bear in mind that the tools and goals of change remain steadfast despite the turbulence of the moment. Take a momentary pause, regain control over yourself. It's patiently waiting for you. In the wisdom of Epictetus, picture the soul as a tranquil bowl of water and our impressions as beams of light gently falling upon it. When the water is stirred, it might seem as though the light itself is in motion, but in reality, it remains still. Likewise, when an individual loses self-control, it's not their abilities and virtues that are disrupted, but rather the essence in which they exist. And as the spirit regains its composure, so do these elements. Recognizing our mistakes or stumbling in our efforts to overcome vices is crucial. Yet even more vital is lifting our heads and forging ahead. Dwelling in guilt is not an option. Guilt and remorse can swiftly become a mental snare, an internal prison hindering progress. For instance, consider when you deviate from your diet or indulge excessively, spending hours in regret, ensnared in the misstep. Avoid letting guilt and remorse establish a new cycle of vice. This is not a form of self-deception. It's about acknowledging the failure, contemplating the circumstances that led to it, understanding why you succumbed once more, and then taking responsibility to move forward. As Marcus Aurelius imparts, collect your senses, bring yourself back, and realize that only your thoughts were disturbed, not the reality itself. See this reality as you perceive your dreams. Deep-rooted habits. Breaking free from vices, whether they appear innocent or are deeply ingrained, poses a challenging and prolonged journey. If you've been a smoker for 15 years, don't expect to kick the habit in a single determined day. Regrettably, mere determination, devoid of strategy, planning, and concrete actions, won't yield substantial results. As nothing occurs suddenly, borrowing Epictetus's wisdom, take a moment to calculate the time you've spent entangled in this habit, in days. For example, if you've been smoking for 15 years, that's 5,475 days entrenched in this vice. Recognize that this habit is deeply woven into your lifestyle. So, don't be misled into thinking that a simple declaration in front of the mirror will miraculously free you, ensuring you never fall into the trap of temptation again. It's time for commitment, backed by action. Initiate the process by mapping out your vices. What precedes them? What follows? Consider smoking. Perhaps you usually indulge post-lunch. Recognizing this trigger, alter your routine. Take a walk, engage in a quick workout, anything to disrupt this habitual pattern. By dissecting your habits, you gain insight into the triggers that precede and follow your vices. Armed with this knowledge, avoiding them becomes more manageable, paving the way for a fresh routine that disrupts your automatic tendency to succumb. Certainly, some vices run deeper, like illicit drug use, for instance. Unfortunately, this video alone lacks the power to prompt you to quit. That's a decision only you can make. As for man, happiness depends on himself. Marcus Aurelius. It's natural to blur the lines between our image and our weaknesses, but we are not defined by our vices. Stoicism encourages us to pursue virtue and stay present to lead lives filled with dignity. When we surrender to and merely accept vices, we not only lose but also miss out on gaining. We miss gaining self-respect. We miss gaining a sense of family. We miss gaining financial stability and a more prosperous life. We miss showcasing our unique gifts and talents to the world. As a parting thought on transcending our vices, consider these words. Enough of this pitiful and lamentable existence. Cease the play. Why the concern? What's truly new here? What is causing such unrest? The reason? Examine it closely. Or perhaps it's the question itself. Then scrutinize that. There's nothing more to behold. However, aligning with the gods right now makes you more straightforward and compassionate. It holds true, whether you've scrutinized these matters for a century or a mere 3 years. Marcus Aurelius. Character, according to Joan Didion, is the willingness to take responsibility for one's own life, the wellspring of self-love. Marcus urges us not to waste time lamenting what we don't comprehend or how events unfold. It's time to stop playing and take control of our lives. Character development is possible, and when it happens, it results in self-respect. But this requires a starting point and a serious commitment. Not tomorrow, not after sorting out your thoughts or organizing your life, but right now, while you're alive. Taking responsibility is the initial stride. Being negligent and lacking this character is the worst fate. Living without self-love means succumbing to desires, accumulating sins through actions, omissions, betrayals of trust and subtle promises broken. You are destined for more. Thanks for watching.